Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel for, a special bit of content from yours truly. For starters, I'm PwnShop135, and we are officially in Wrestlemania week mode. I'm recording this on Monday the 14th, so. For those of you who aren't aware, I am an avid pro wrestling fan. In a past life, I was a pro wrestling YouTuber. Not really successful, but still. Anyway, we're here today to talk about WrestleMania Night 1. I will be doing Night 2 in another video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the match, pick who I think is going to win, and to borrow a gimmick from Tom Campbell of Cultaholic, I'm going to basically rate the match how I'm feeling in terms of temperature, like hot, cold, etc., etc. So, WrestleMania is a two-night event that takes place on Saturday, April 19th and Sunday, April 20th. 4:20 Easter, whatever. So, both nights are 9 hours in total, but that's including the pre-show and the post-show, which I'm not too concerned with either one. So, let's go ahead and jump into to night 1. These matches are going to take place on Saturday, April 19th. So for starters, we have the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar, defending the World Tag Team Championships against the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Now, Kingston and Woods have been, to put things bluntly, they've been jerks ever since they kicked Big E out of the team, calling him dead weight, just unfairly pushing him to the side. And they've been rather desperate to get a shot at the World Tag Team Championships. The War Raiders have seized the belts since their return from injury, and they've basically pushed past all the other teams. This one's difficult to call, so I'm going to go with the New Day. It's a tricky pick, but I'm going to go with the New Day. In terms of the story leading up to the match, it feels very room temperature. Like I know that 90% of these cards are going to be great matches, but it's just like the build is kind of janky for some of these. But this one, it just feels like an average build. Yeah. Next match, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Basically, El Grande Americano came about mysteriously after Chad Gable of the American-made faction went off to Mexico, air quotes, to learn the secrets of Lucha Libre. The dark arts of Lucha Libre. And just so happens, before Chad Gable came back, El Grande Americano made his debut. I don't know who to pick on this one, so I'm just gonna say El Grande. I don't know. He's gonna cheat. We all know it's Chad Gable under that mask. As far as... Oh, wait. I didn't fully explain the story. Hang on. So, American Made does what every other faction does, and that's feud with Rey Mysterio and the Latino World Order, or the LWO. Rey and his compadres feel that El Grande Americano, who, again, we all know that's Chad Gable under the mask, is an insult to Lucha Libre, their Rey's heritage, everything he's fought so hard over his career to make prominent. So after a 6-man tag team match pitting El Grande and American Made against the LWO, where El Grande cheated to beat Dragon Lee and subsequently headbutt Rey Mysterio with a steel plate in his hood, in his mask. That led to this match. As far as temperature-wise, how I'm feeling, cold. Like, this is a cold match. This really should not be on the card. This is like a Monday Night Raw main event. Or, no, that's too generous. Middle of the show, kind of like the second half of the first hour. There's so much that could have taken this place. Either the women's Intercontinental or United States Championships could have been on the card. Well, more on the women's IC champ later in the next video. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships could have been on the card, but no, they're relegated to the SmackDown before WrestleMania. Yeah. So I'm going to pick El Grande to win this one. Next, Jade Cargill taking on Naomi. Now this feud came about middle of last year, or it started, because Jade and Bianca Belair were women's tag team champions at the time. Well, Jade Cargill got mysteriously attacked, in air quotes. So while she was laid up, rather than have Bianca surrender the titles, Naomi stepped in to defend the belts with Belair. This led to a whodunit story that took place throughout the rest of the year, leading up, well, all the way up into early February, with so many names getting blamed, including Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day, who the two of them wound up dethroning Naomi and Bianca as champions. Fast forward to Elimination Chamber, and right as the match began, Jade Cargill made her return, slid into the ring and acted like she was about to attack Liv when she beat down Naomi. Beat her down so bad she had to be stretchered out of the match, and therefore was eliminated. Then, over the following weeks post-Elimination Chamber, Naomi finally confessed to her crimes because A, she felt like she was better than than Jade, and B, she did it because, well, she did it for Naomi. If you know that reference, you know. Anyway, she felt that by taking out Jade, she could elevate Bianca herself. You know, basically steal credit. And so this feud between Naomi and Jade has boiled over with several pull-apart brawls and several declarations of war. So with this, I'm going to go with Jade Cargill. As far as the story goes, I'd say it's hot. Like, this is a proper blood feud. Next, we got the United States Championship on the line as LA Knight, defends against Jacob Fatu of the New Bloodline. Now, Jacob Fatu is a big bad monster. Like, he's a bad man. And LA Knight, is well, he's been on a roll since he won the United States Championship, dethroning wow, I can't even remember who the last champion was. Anyway, Jacob Fatu earned his opportunity against LA Knight, and the only pratfalls that Jacob Fatu has encountered is Solo Sikoa keeps getting in his way. Now, Jacob and Solo are part of the New Bloodline. I'm sorry, and Solo's basically trying to big brother Jacob because Solo is the leader of the New Bloodline, and Jacob wasn't putting up for it, and he still ain't putting up for it. So I'm going to give this one to Jacob Fatu, but worst case scenario, Solo screws him out of the title, and he takes an L takes his first L at WrestleMania, which I don't think that should happen. Anyway, as far as how I'm feeling for this feud, I'd have to say, warm. Because, I mean, it's Jacob Fatu. Everybody loves him. He's a bad, bad man. But the outcome of this is like 80% predictable. Anyway, next, for the WWE Women's Championship, we have Tiffany Stratton defending against Charlotte Flair. Now, Tiffany Stratton, rewind back to last year, Tiffany Stratton was 2024's Miss Money in the Bank. She would then, over the next couple of months, cash in on Nia Jax, who had, she had a brief alliance with, and Nia Jax made her feel like, she was less than dirt. So, Jax being champion at the time, Tiffany cashed in and became champion. Charlotte Flair, on the other hand, came back at the 2025 Royal Rumble, and much to the dismay of everybody, she won the bloody thing. Then Charlotte would spend the next week visiting Raw, scouting Rhea Ripley, the then World Women's Champion at the time, NXT, scouting Julia, the then NXT Women's Champion, before finally setting her sights on Tiffany Stratton, with no rhyme, reason, or motive. Then, 2 weeks ago was the most uncomfortable, well, actually, fast forward a little further than that. 3 weeks ago, they had a split screen interview, which those are never good. There's only one exception, but regularly those aren't good. Charlotte was stepping all over Tiffany. Tiffany could barely get a word in edgewise. Then rewind to 2 weeks ago, from again Monday the 24th, and that led to one of the most uncomfortable promos, and did not do anything for how I feel about this feud, where basically real pot shots were fired. First by Charlotte, and then Tiffany had that incredibly uncomfortable line mentioning Charlotte's past divorces, which earlier that day Charlotte had a curtain revealing interview where she basically broke down about her personal life. But yeah, and then this past week on SmackDown, they got involved in a pull apart parking lot brawl where they both were suspended from the final SmackDown. So with that being said, I want Tiffany to win, but it's Charlotte, so she's probably going to win. I hope not. As far as how I'm feeling about this feud, freezing, ice cold. It's sub-zero outside, and I forgot my jacket, wearing nothing but a pair of jeans. Ice cold. Next, for the World Heavyweight Championship, Der Ring General Gunther defends against main event Jey Uso. Yeet. Fast forward to WrestleMania last year, where Gunther dropped his Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn, which Gunther cemented himself as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in a single reign at 666 days. Awesome. But then he would spend the next couple weeks translating that undefeated streak, which he was undefeated up until WrestleMania. He would take all that work he did as Intercontinental Champion and translate it to World Heavyweight Champion, beating Damian Priest for the championship with some assistance from Finn Balor at the Judgment Day. And then Gunther would spend the rest of 2024 and into 2025 as World Champion. Jey Uso, been the fan favorite since he tore away from the old bloodline, briefly reunited with the new bloodline, basically his 2024 was up and down, where he spent 1 week as Intercontinental Champion, and yeah, he wins the 2025 Royal Rumble and goes after Gunther, which was a huge tactical error on Jay's part. He's not taking this seriously. He's too busy, yeeting with the crowd. Meanwhile, Gunther is getting the best of him at every turn, jumping him, insulting his character, this, that, and the other. Jay's brother Jimmy gets involved, basically talks some sense to him, tells him to, focus up, because we don't need main event Jey Uso, we need the right-hand man Jey Uso. Because back when he was in the Bloodline, he was the right-hand man, which he did all of Roman's dirty work for him. So, Jimmy decides enough is enough, of Gunther smack-talking his brother, getting the best of him, that Jimmy was going to have a one-on-one match with Gunther. Gunther beats him, goes for the cover several times, and, breaks up his own cover just to make Jimmy suffer some more. Finally, he chokes him out, and everybody thinks, well, that's done. Jay comes out, help his brother, but Gunther's not done. He beats the brothers up, incapacitates Jimmy for a bit before zip tying him to the ropes, and makes him watch uncomfortably as he beats the holy crap out of Jimmy. Turns this man into a bleeding mess, even takes some of Jimmy's blood and wipes it all over himself, basically just poking the bear of Jey Uso. Last week on Raw, Jay comes out and he's changed. He's not doing the yeet with the crowd, he ain't wearing his merch, and he basically goes to the dark side to put Gunther on notice. And Gunther is looking a bit rattled. So, that being said, I got to give it to Jimmy. I got to give it to Jay. They got to give him that win. They got to give him that due. As far as how I'm feeling about this match, initially I was feeling cold about it. Freezing cold. Like the match before it, but they started turning the corner when they had Gunther beat up Jimmy, but it was a little too late. So right now I'm feeling, warm. I'm feeling warm. And finally, that leads us to the main event of night one, which, before we get into that, it's not for a championship, and none of these guys are the Royal Rumble winner, because usually it's the Rumble winner that goes on last. But no, it's Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins. Now, since Roman Reigns returned 3, 4, 5 years ago, somewhere in there, when Roman Reigns returned to be the tribal chief, Paul Heyman was his advocate. His wise man. And Paul led him through the longest reigning world championship of the modern era. Being there with Roman while he establishes his dominance as Universal Champion, forming the Bloodline, winning the WWE Championship while holding the Universal title, merging them, and just running rugshot until last year when Cody freaking Rhodes finished his freaking story. I don't know why I added those freakings, but we're going to roll with it. Anywho, Roman got beat and he vanished, leaving Heyman to the mercy of Solo Sikoa and the New Bloodline, where they beat the hell out of that man and put him through a table. Roman then returned to quell Bloodline 2.0 with the help of former Bloodline members, Jimmy and Jay the Usos, and CM Punk. After the match, CM Punk told Paul Heyman, "You owe me a favor." And that favor was largely forgotten until these three men got tangled up in the Royal Rumble, where CM Punk eliminated both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Roman wound up getting curb stomped by Seth, when all three of them got engaged in a pull-apart brawl. And then we fast forward to Elimination Chamber, after Seth Rollins and CM Punk go back and forth and whatnot. Both of them are in the Elimination Chamber. Well, Seth Rollins gets eliminated third to last. And it comes down to John Cena and CM Punk as the last two. CM Punk is looking for a reprieve from John Cena. Seth Rollins comes out of nowhere, hadn't exited the chamber yet, hits a curb stomp on CM Punk, causing Punk to lose the chamber. Well, then, a week or two after the chamber, things finally come to a head between Punk and Rollins, where they, have a steel cage match on Monday Night Raw. When it looked like Rollins was poised to put away CM Punk, Roman Reigns came out of nowhere, yoinked Seth Rollins out of the cage, and then proceeded to go beat down on CM Punk. And over the next couple weeks, all three men would tie up into it. A couple weeks ago, they finally had a contract signing between all three men. Paul Heyman, trying to get ahead of what Punk's favor is, finally granted CM Punk the one thing he's looking forward to all of his career, and that is a WrestleMania main event. Okay. Punk signs the contract and he tells Heyman that wasn't the favor. So Heyman's distraught. Roman just brushes it off, and Seth, he's just enjoying the show because he knows he gets to beat the snot out of both guys. So the next week on SmackDown, Punk reveals that his favor is he wants Paul Heyman to walk him to the ring. Roman tells Paul Heyman to tell him no, and Paul's conflicted because Roman's his tribal chief, but CM Punk's his best friend. What do you do? Well, this past week on Raw, Paul Heyman made it clear that he's not betraying Roman or Punk, and that he's going to, essentially call it down the middle. Seth Rollins comes out and threatens to, eliminate him from the picture. That brings out CM Punk. Punk and Rollins brawl. Rollins winds up hitting a curb stomp on Punk. And while Paul's trying to check on Punk, make sure he's alright, he's bent down in the stomp position. Seth runs at him for a stomp and stops short, and he gets in Paul's face and says, "You owe me a favor." As for what that favor is, who knows? Maybe he's going to try and put it on a level playing field. As far as who I'm picking for this match, I'm going to say CM Punk. I'm not a big CM Punk fan anymore, but yeah, I'm going to pick him. But as far as the story goes, I'd say this is kind of hot. This is a hot story. So, although I will say that reveal of Punk's favor was kind of a wet fart. I don't know. It was something you could have seen a million miles away. But anyway, that's going to do it for the Night 1 WrestleMania. I will see you guys next time for Night 2. Later.